Yeah, but that's the
No.
point I'm trying to get from you. I mean, why should we feel that, for example, your organization and others will be in a better position and know what to do, and that the parliamentarians, for example, would not? Why? How do we arrive at that?
It's all about the policy lawmaking processes. You see, it's a whole group of people, various actors who are supposed to feed into the process. So at every point in time, we're not pretending that everybody or one person knows everything. What we do in this country is that we have consultants who don't even sometimes understand our systems, drafting things that civil society and other actors don't even get to see it. And our experience with Parliament is that they also have very limited time and sometimes capacity to scrutinize things.
You see, exactly. But this is the whole point. The point I find interesting, that parliamentarians may not have the capacity, as you say, and yet people want them to go and distribute documents to civil society. What do they know? What is the point in going to ask a couple of workers in some corner of Ghana what they think about a bill for revenue management? What do they know about it?
I guess that's not what we're advocating.
Yes.
What we're saying basically is that there are some institutions
Yeah.
who have some knowledge and have some understanding, can
they must
provide some insights,
Yeah.
and be able to critically examine various options
Yeah.
and say that, okay, for example, revenue management, why are we going for the specialized fund and why are we not going in for a direct distribution or something like
Yes, but
that?
much of these, do you realize, Ishmael, that much of these things have not been really necessarily agreed? I mean, I hear a lot of discussion, but much of the government, I mean, where does one get one's information? There's so much out there that you don't know quite what is government policy, what is said and what isn't. I mean, for example, as you just said, with revenue, do you know what the government position is on what it will do?
At least now, based on the recent nationwide consultations, we've gotten to understand that the government, or at least the proposals on the table that the Ministry of Finance, who are leading that bill, is putting out there, is that we're going to go in for a specialized fund. So at least now we have a draft document that has been posted on the Ministry of Finance website.
Okay.
And there's a questionnaire that they are soliciting the views
That
of
they are going to go in for a what?
a specialized fund.
Meaning what? That oil money will what?
They're going to set up two funds. So part of the oil revenue will go into one fund they call stabilization fund and the other heritage fund. The stabilization fund, as the name implies, is supposed to help smoothing out the booms and busts.
That's the money we will spend. Is that correct?
Not quite. It's supposed to help us. For example, if we're going to, sometimes the prices will dip. Other time it goes up, and that's what we call if for example we're receiving $1 billion this year, and next year because of the prices it goes down to $500 million. What is happening is that you wouldn't have the same amount of money to plan your economy with.
So the money that goes into the stabilization fund is to even out the situation.
Even out, and
then
the
other
heritage
fund-
is the oil that we found today doesn't belong to those of us who are alive alone.
So
The yet unborn also deserve to come in and see some benefit from the oil that we found before they were born.
correct. So what? So what is the heritage fund for? How does it
It's going to
ensure
be
that?
put into some savings that will earn interest.
So we won't spend any money at all? Is that what we're suggesting?
Portions of the money will go into the budget.
Yes.
That's
But-
what the government is putting on the table.
Yeah, but do you know what percentages?
That's what they're asking all of us, and I would encourage
The
you
government wants us to tell them how much of the money they should put in to spend and how much they should put into funds. More or
Yes.
less what you're saying.
Yes, that's what they are. They are not. Not me saying, but that's the proposal on the table, and that's what we've been told.
Yeah.
So they've agreed and decided, or at least the proposal that they put before the whole nation is that portions or part of the money should go into these funds. The rest will go into the consolidated funds that will be used to run the budgets for each year. So now at this stage we are being told that nothing is cast in stone, and we have the opportunity to make an input. As to whether that input is informed, is the issue that you raised.
That's my point. I
Yes.
don't understand that, my
But
brother.
David, the fact of the matter is that not everybody would be able to make any informed decision. Some of us can go and say why 50%, 80%, but that's where the government comes in, or that's where
That's their responsibility.
Yes.
They have to plan. They have to. I mean, why are they
yes, but
asking
you
us?
see, But you see, when people who are supposed to be leading sometimes don't even have all the expertise, and depend on people who will come in and sometimes don't even understand our situation. You understand? So if there is something like a think tank, there's something like a parallel institution that will be able to do some research and say that, look, these are some of the other options that we could consider, so that it's not as if there's only one way of doing things when it comes to this oil industry, but various views. You can take views and then process them and decide which ones you take. And then ultimately you have the say. What you put before cabinet, which ultimately goes to parliament, is the government's decision. Because for example, we can't guarantee that all the inputs that we're going to make through this consultation process will end up in any draft bill.
Better than cream cheese and bagels, better than honey on bread, better than champagne and pretzels, better than breakfast in bed, better than chili rellenos, better than chocolate eclairs, better than hothouse tomatoes, better than fresh bartlett pears, better than dining a la carte or simply gastronomic art, better than anything except being in love. So much better, better than anything.
Learn seriously, play seriously, win seriously, work seriously, relax seriously, invest seriously, smile seriously, love seriously, dream seriously, live seriously, stay connected wherever. Serious speed, serious service, serious savings. iBurst Africa, serious internet.
Do you have a concern also, like most people talk about these days, that do you have a concern with the expectation management?
Yes, I do have, and
What is it?
I think it's one of the main reasons why that we came up with this publication.
Yeah.
You know, to the average Ghanaian, to the layman out there, we found oil, and the news is that it's going to change the fortunes of this nation. Okay, to the extent that even our governments are gradually even slipping into that dangerous situation.
But why not? Can it not change the fortunes of the nation?
It should, or it could, but
Exactly.
nothing at this stage is fixed. For example, now we're acting on the assumption that a minimum of 500 million barrels will be coming from Jubilee.
Yes, yeah.
But those are clearly estimates.
Yeah, but you have to work with estimates. I mean, that's probability.
So David, the problem is that when you go, for example, to plan with $1 billion in mind and you make some projections, sometimes even committing to certain projects, okay, and then those revenues are not received, what happens? Dashed hope.
Yeah, but that's that. You see, but Ishmael, this is my problem, that NGOs and we are talking about this. I mean, that is I'm not sure that is in our place to do. I mean, governments have a responsibility, and everywhere in the world they plan. And we understand probability and so on. And they plan and they monitor. And they adjust plans to fit as they go along and so on.
Okay.
We after all, nobody is a magician. And we have struck oil, and there are various estimates, World Bank estimate and so on. And some say between 1 and 1.5 billion. That tells you that there's an understanding. I think we're getting a bit too caught in the detail and trying to hold everything down and be sure and so on and so. So